All right, so yes, welcome everyone. We're going to definitely go ahead and get rolling here and just be aware of everyone's time. So, welcome to the Alabama Drive-in Workshop, and thank you all so much for attending today. Just as a reminder for those, or if you have not attended a drive-in workshop before, these are one-day seminars that SACAC co-chairs or chairs put on for each state in the spring. So it's an opportunity for you all to have some professional development based on different professionals who have had experience in the field, and we're excited for the different topics we have for y'all today. I'm Kristen Odom. I'm at UMS Wright in Mobile, Alabama, and I'm going to toss it back over to Samantha.
Hey, I'm Samantha Creedemeyer, and I'm the Dean of College Advising and the Upper School Counselor at Houston Academy in Dothan, Alabama. And I'm excited to welcome our State and Area Initiatives chairs, Kristen Bird, Darren Morgan, and Monique Tubbs. And we appreciate not only your technical skills and your troubleshooting ability, but also everything you do for our state. So thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll hear from them later on in the program. So just a few notes about housekeeping while we are still in a Zoom-friendly community. Make sure that you know that you all are muted and your video is off unless you're a panelist. And again, we would love to hear from you if you have questions. Please use the chat. You're welcome to engage with us that way. Kristen's going to be monitoring that, so we are more than happy to answer any questions. Just know that you won't necessarily be able to have a conversation with us virtually face to face. A few things that we're going to hit today in our agenda. We will be hearing from selective admission and case study programs at Tulane and at the University of Georgia. So I'm really excited to hear from Roth Coates and Josh Williams. We are also going to be hearing about Alabama's initiative, which is the direct admissions, and we'll hear from Chandra Scott, the executive director of Alabama Possible. Then we'll take a short break, and then we'll hear from Ronnie Stallworth as our keynote speaker. I'm very excited. Kristen's heard Ronnie speak several times, and I'm really excited to hear this part of the program as well. And finally, we'll end our day with updates from different colleges and universities across the state. So, with that being said, I'd like to begin this portion of the program by hearing from Roth Coates, the Assistant Director of Undergraduate Admissions at Tulane University.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. Is there a way for me to click forward or should I just tell you?
Can I just go for it?
Yeah,
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 I'm sure there is a
absolutely.
way for you to advance, but I'm not aware of how.
Hi, everyone. I'm Roth Coates. I use he, him pronouns. I am one of the assistant directors at Tulane. I read all the applications coming from Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Arkansas, in North Louisiana. So I'll be working really closely with your students. Um, what I've done today is I've actually adapted one of the presentations that we give to students. So this is the same information that we go over with our students when they come to one of our junior nights or one of our Tulane comes to you or one of our like virtual applying to selective schools events. And what I'm planning to do today is use the slides that we use with students, but really highlight things that would really be helpful from the counselors to highlight for the students, or things that it would be really helpful if you communicated to Tulane and all the other selective schools. Obviously, Tulane is a highly selective institution. We only admit about 15% of applicants that apply for freshman admissions. I'm going to try to keep it to broad strokes and talk about kind of generally selective schools, but obviously a lot of my experience, especially when it comes to answering questions, if y'all have any, is going to be pretty Tulane specific. So first thing to know is that for selective institutions, what round a student applies in can be really the difference between whether or not they get admitted. Um, Especially for us, our regular decision admit rate, that last round, is going to have the lowest admission rate. So we do an early decision one, an early action, and then an early decision two. Early action is non binding. So if you have any students that are interested in Tulane but don't want to sign that agreement, I really encourage them to go early action. I would say, in my experience, this is going to be similar among most selective institutions. You really if a student is interested in going to a school that has a non-binding early option, I would really push them towards that. Something to highlight here for us is for students that are deferred in early action, we do allow them to move their application to early decision too. I know that's not going to be the same across every institution, and you can always reach out to me if you have a specific student. Okay, I'm ready for the next slide. So the general things we try to highlight for students are we really want authenticity, and we want the student to tell us as much as they can in a short period of time. So during read season, when I'm reading applications, I'm reading about 75 a day. That, that is what my minimum is for my read days. And so I get about 6 minutes to spend with each student. I really encourage students to try to tell me as much as they can over the course of the application instead of trying to like harp on one singular thing. I want to see that the student's well-rounded. And so if the only thing they tell me about is how hard calculus was, or everything focuses around math, then it's hard for me to know that they're a well-rounded student. We really encourage students to submit a thoughtful application. And what I mean by this is most of the applications I read have very little effort put into them. They're going to be skipping the optional statement. It's going to be like a poorly formatted essay, a little bit of effort in the application, even just going over the whole thing a second time and reading it really honestly can make a student stand out, because a lot of the applications, with selective schools, a lot of students are going to niche and they're saying, okay, what are the top 10 schools for XYZ thing? And then applying to those schools. And what we want to see is a little bit of effort, and that the student has actually considered, do I want to go to this school, or am I just excited about it because it's ranked for a certain thing? Okay, next slide. So how do we figure out if a student's going to be a good fit? We're really looking at 3 questions. First is, are you going to succeed academically at the school? Second is, what are you going to bring to campus? And the third is, do you want to be at the school? I'm sorry that it's cutting off. So the first thing is the succeed academically. This is what the students are probably most familiar with. We are still test optional, and we really have a lot of focus on rigor and context, because frankly, we want students from a wide range of backgrounds, and that means getting students from high schools that don't necessarily offer a full slate of APs or IBs. And so when we're reading applications, we're really trying to hone in on like, what does the average student at this high school looks like, and how does the student compare to that average? For us, we get some really helpful information from the College Board, but it can be really helpful from counselors for you to also, if you're trying to highlight how incredible a student is in your letter or in general, it can be really helpful if you center the student around the average, or highlight things like, usually we limit students to taking 3 APs the senior year. The student was so incredible, we let them take 5. That can be a huge deal. And we do a really careful job of reading those school reports that are sent to us, but it can always be extra helpful for it to be highlighted again in the counselor letter. Next thing is bringing something to campus. The activity is the personal statement, the letter of recommendation. The Common App has the activity section. I always tell students, don't worry, like, we don't require a separate resume. If they don't want to, put together a resume, they really should just use the activity section. And if they're going to put a resume on the application, they should also do the activity section. Mostly because I see the activity section before I see any kind of resume. And so if they only submit a resume and they leave the activity section blank, I go into reading the rest of their application thinking that they're not involved in any clubs or organizations. And then I reach their resume at the end and have to like reread the whole application. And that is probably not the most favorable read for the student, at least on that first pass. And so I really encourage them to use the activity section. Next, personal statement. Really, the big thing with personal statement is to read it a second time, make sure it's edited. And then something I want to highlight here, we only require one letter of recommendation from the counselor. Most students send additional ones. Something I've been running into a lot that I think y'all could be really helpful with is we are still test optional. We have about 50% of students we admitted last year did not send in test scores. However, we get a good chunk of test optional students where a teacher or a counselor will mention a test score in the letter of recommendation. And this can be not so helpful to the student if I recommended to the student they submit test optional, and then I find out a test score that I didn't really want to know about in a letter later, because we hide the test scores in other parts of the application, but we can't like redact them from the letters of rec because I'm the first one to go through and read them. So, and then lastly, the do you want to be here? Those are the documents that we use for them. Tulane is a demonstrated interest school, so we absolutely care about demonstrated interest. It is especially important right now when we're looking at who we're going to pull off of our deferred lists and our wait lists, because we want to kind of have a sure bet that if they're admitted, they will come. Okay, next slide. So when we're assessing academics, of course, we're using GPA. Most schools, selective schools, are going to look at an unweighted GPA and then also rigor, because each high school weights things a little bit differently, and it wouldn't be fair to students if one student's straight A's was an 8 and one student's straight A's was a 4. So we recalculate to make an unweighted GPA just so we can compare students. We are still test optional. We have not heard any different about next year. We will likely send out something to counselors if we choose to start requiring test scores. Please feel free, you as a counselor or the student, to reach out to us. If you have a school that's test optional and you're trying to figure out whether or not a student should send in test scores, I so super encourage you to reach out to us, because we can help figure out whether or not to send in the test scores. We want to help you through that decision. We don't want it to be like some secret weird game. Okay, next slide. So these are the things you probably talk to your students the most about: the activity section and the personal statement. We really value commitment and consistency, and we really want to push students to show things like their jobs and their home requirements. If they're driving their brother to basketball every day, I love seeing that on the activity section. That shows a level of responsibility I really appreciate. I also really value non-traditional leadership positions. One of my favorite activity sections, I had a student who was the quality control officer for an organization that made cards for kids in a children's hospital. It was not a president or a vice president position. It was not even a secretary position, but it told me a lot about the student, which was that this student is trusted enough to be the last person to read these cards before they go to sick kids in the children's hospital. And so even that, very non-traditional leadership position can tell me a lot about the student. So especially when you have more introverted students, if you can help us in reminding them that those public speaking roles still matter in the application, and we do pay attention to them. In the personal statement, we really want it to be the student's voice as opposed to a parent's or yours, and you know that. We don't have any preference for topic. What we really want to see is that the student knows how to write at a college level, and we want to learn something else about them. I also think that students really are convinced that the best way to get into college is to write a SAT essay. And for the past 2 years, which is how long I've been working at Tulane, my favorite essays each year have either been deeply neutral or very happy. Last year, my favorite essay was one about lists, and a student loving lists and some of his favorite lists, and how they helped him connect with other people because he was a little socially anxious. And then this year, I had an essay about a student falling in love with crossword puzzles, and establishing a position at their school newspaper where they were the one to write the crossword puzzles for the newspaper. And it became like a big hobby for them. And now they've fallen in love with linguistics. And so I would describe those essays as like deeply neutral to happy. And those have been the ones that really stand out to me because they were so well written, not necessarily the topic. And then letters of recommendation. Again, each school is going to have different requirements. I was on a panel in Birmingham, and I said something very controversial, which is that my favorite letters of recommendation are not from teachers. Especially because a lot of the letters of recommendation I get from teachers are from teachers that only know the student in the classroom context. I much prefer a letter of recommendation from someone who knows the student in more than one context, or so someone who teaches them and is also in leadership or the supervisor for a club that the student's in, or who teaches them and is also a coach. I really like seeing a variety in the letters just because there's a lot of information I get from the transcript, and most of the time letters of rec are just repeating things that I've already seen. The most helpful letters of recommendation are ones that don't just like list out the student's resume. So I really enjoy when folks talk about knowing the student and seeing them like lead other students or connect with other students, as opposed to just they were very good in my class, they got an A, they worked hard for it. I'm ready for the next slide. And then the last thing is, do you want to be here? Again, we track demonstrated interest, everything from virtual to in-person events. It is not it is not a must-do to visit campus. If a student is not going to visit campus, I really encourage them to do one of our virtual campus tours. Part of it is we want the student to actually think about, do they want to come to our school before they apply to the school? And then we get so many applicants that we want to admit students who really have thought about it. And then most selective schools, as you know, are also going to have an optional essay. Ours is colloquially called the Why Tulane essay. The biggest thing we encourage is we can tell when a student has written one essay and then just switched out the name of the college. And so we really love when students are specific. Another issue we run into, and I'm sure this is the same for any big city, if a student's applying to a college in New Orleans or New York or Chicago, there are a lot of universities and colleges in each of those big cities. And so it's not super helpful when students write an essay about like why they want to study in that city, because we're going to say like, okay, you should go to one of the like 16 colleges here. Why are you interested in us specifically? And then communication with the counselor, not just like an email saying hi, but like genuine, if they have questions, reaching out to us. Connections that are born from something the student can't find on the website are really helpful. And then last slide, I think, and then I'm going to answer questions. So I did not mess up on the top. It's virtual visiting Tulane University. This is the website. We offer a lot of online case studies programs, and I'm just going to go over what we have for your students. So these are the ones coming up. We've kind of planned out spring, and then we'll pop up more in the fall. So if I were a student, this is the four I would go to and the order I would go in. We also have virtual campus tours. I'm going to be doing a cooking stream where I also answer students' questions. I'm going to be cooking Cajun food. So we do a little bit of everything, but these are the ones that are going to be like most helpful to the students. So I would start with the starting your college search. We go through how to start a college search, how to start researching colleges, what are the kind of general things to think about. Second, is the tips and tricks for applying to a selective school. It's the presentation I gave today, but in much more detail. So that's the second one. The third is our online case studies called You're the Dean. We send the students some fake applications, as you would expect for case studies, that we've put together. They're in the format that you'll see on the Common App, so they can see what an application looks like when we read it. And so they'll read they'll read them, and then we'll go through and do how we read them. And then the last one is our essay writing workshop, where now that they've kind of gotten a general idea of what we're looking in essays, we'll go through and talk about how to start that process. So if you have any students who are stressed about the application process, whether it's for a selective school or just in general, these things can be really helpful. And if they're specifically interested in Tulane, they absolutely do count towards demonstrated interest. So I've seen at least one question on AI for counselor of letter of recs. Okay, so I frankly, most counselor letter of recs read about the same. I feel about the same as AI as I do with y'all using like a form. That is not going to speak negatively to the student. For me, what is especially helpful, especially if you're using AI or something, the things that are the most helpful in our letter of rec, no matter how you're writing it, sorry, I restarted that sentence so many times, are your help in centering the student in the context of the high school. So instead of things like the student has taken 7 APs, the student has taken twice as many APs as our average student. Or it's especially helpful when counselors are like, the student in our senior class who's taken the hardest schedule has taken this many honors classes over the course of their time here. This student has taken this many. Those kinds of things can be really helpful. Because I kind of have an idea of their academics from the transcript. I have their activities from the activity section. I don't need you to like rehash those because I've already seen them. What I really need from you is like centering the student in the context of the school and telling me anything that is relevant to their education that the student may not have told me. So like, if there's a dip in their grades freshman year and you know that somebody died or they had family issues at home, those kinds of things are especially helpful because it helps me understand what was going on with the student. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you, Roth. And also, how would the counselors get access to like the workshop links and things so that way they can see as
If you
well?
go back one screen, the link is at the top.
Okay, perfect. So this would have the links to any of these
Yep.
different events.
That's
Okay.
going to have it's split into 3 categories. It's our fun stuff, our virtual tours, and then the third category will have all of these workshops. Thank you to who sent
Perfect.
it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Roth. And we'll make sure that we send your information out as well in the follow-up. So I greatly
Yeah.
appreciate your perspective. I've learned a lot.
Awesome. I am. Do you want me to do my quick
Yes.
pitch?
Please
Okay,
do your-
cool. So I have some meetings this afternoon, unfortunately, so I will not be able to be at the elevator pitches. So I'm going to do mine now. In short, there's 3 big reasons that I'm really excited about Tulane that I would highlight to students. The first is that we're one of the top 75 schools in the nation. We are one of the most highly ranked schools that's going to be close to all students physically. I am from New Orleans. Both my parents taught at my high school, so I left the state for college and then immediately moved back. And so I think it is really an honor that one of the best schools in the United States is in my hometown. I think that really rocks. And it's something I'm proud to represent. The second thing I really like to highlight is that Tulane is a medium-sized institution, but we don't like average out the best parts of a small liberal arts college and a large flagship. We really have both ends. So like we are 8,000 undergraduates, but our average class size is 21, right? We have 8,000 undergraduates, but we have D1 athletics and we're our conference champion this year for football. So you are not losing out on either end of that spectrum by going to a medium-sized institution with Tulane. You just don't have to pick between the two, which is really nice. Um, and then we are an R1 research institution, but we're also have that like connection with professors that you get from being in such a small class size. And then the last thing I like to highlight is Tulane is in the top 5 in the United States for having the happiest students. I know that our job can be pretty stressful, but I sleep really easy at night knowing that the students I recruit to Tulane are statistically among some of the happiest in the nation. That makes me feel good about all that I do. And so there are 3 big reasons why I think it's the case. The first is the academic flexibility we offer. We don't admit students to specific programs or schools. So when they're admitted to all 75 majors, and they don't have to declare until second semester sophomore year. And we like seeing students who are interested in more than one thing. So almost 40% of our students double or triple major. We're really big on providing resources to our students, whether it's the tutoring that they need, because a lot of times students come to Tulane and it's the first time they've struggled in a class. And so we're really intentional about making sure students have everything they need, from mental health resources to shuttles that go to the grocery store on the weekend that are free to our students. Anything they can need, we make sure it's available. And then the last reason I think our students are so happy is because we're in New Orleans. And we really embrace being in the city. We're in Uptown, which is an quieter part of the city. We're on the oldest streetcar line in the United States, but we require students go out in the city as part of their service requirement and as an academic requirement for some of their classes. And so we really want students engaging in the space that they're in, because Tulane wouldn't be what it is unless we were in the city. So that's why I think all your students should come to Tulane. If you have any that are interested, you know how to get them in now. And if y'all have any questions, please reach out to me. I am so happy to talk to you or any of your students, or see them at one of the many webinars or workshops. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Roth. Thank you.
Y'all have a great one.
You too. So now we're going to move into our portion where we will hear from Josh Williams for about the next 15 minutes. We've got the University of Georgia Assistant Director of Georgia Recruitment, Undergraduate Admissions, and I'm so excited to see you, Josh, and we're happy to hear all about everything UGA this morning.
Yeah, thank you so much, Samantha and Dr. Odom, for letting me have this opportunity to showcase how we do our things here in Athens, Georgia. Also, shout out to Roth. It's been a pleasure working with him. I actually met him a few weeks ago in Birmingham. So he's a wonderful professional, and really gave some great insight into the selective admissions process from the perspective of a private institution. So what I'll do is I actually will fill in the blanks in how a selective public flagship institution does that process. One thing I also want to highlight too is that this presentation will be pretty much high level. So we'll go from high level to the more narrow application read process later in the application process. So we'll discuss the landscape at a glance. We'll talk about the enrollment management aspects, what we're having to navigate behind the scenes when it comes to managing our enrollment classes, while also going narrow into how we actually look at the application in front of us when it comes to having those enrollment management goals in our mind. But before we get started, I do want to also introduce myself. My name is Josh Williams. I serve as Assistant Director of Undergraduate Admissions, Georgia Recruitment here at the University of Georgia. Been in our office for about 4 years, recruiting students primarily, as my title kind of suggests, in the Atlanta area, South Metro Atlanta. But I also had the privilege of working with a myriad of southern states too, which includes the wonderful state of Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Louisiana. So it's been a pleasure working with folks like Dr. Odom and Samantha, virtually mostly, And meeting them also at conferences too. So it's a pleasure to be here to kind of give y'all some of the landscape when it comes to the application process at the University of Georgia. But let me give a few disclaimers before we get started. One is that there will be a lot of numbers like the ones on the screen, so get ready for the numbers. Um, but I'm actually in a doctoral program right now, and one of the things I am doing in one of my qualitative research classes is basically saying that numbers cannot grant us a firm, encompassed view of the complexities of the human experience. That is something I firmly believe in, and a lot of our folks do believe in our office, that numbers cannot truly give the full picture of the experiences that those students are placing in the application, which is why I always tell students, if you're not admitted to your top university, it's not a matter of you not doing enough to get to that university. It's just a matter of what the enrollment priorities are for that institution. The data also will not be fully representative of our incoming fall 2026 class. We're currently still ongoing with our application read process. As of now, we have our regular decision application decisions coming out next month, March 6th. So most of the data I'll be providing will mostly be representative of our early action admit students, and then also some data from last year's class. And then lastly, the last disclaimer is that this information will be UGA centric. So this will also constitute my elevator pitch here. But hopefully this also does represent a few other public flagship institutions who are also navigating the similar challenges that we are also navigating in Athens. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. As y'all know, we are located in Athens, Georgia, the classic city, about 3 hours away from Birmingham, the closest city of one of my territories out of state. And as you'll see, we are a big university. We have 43,000 students scattered across 19 schools and colleges, which will include our Terry College of Business, one of the top business schools in the nation, our Grady School of Journalism and Mass Communication, who awards the prestigious Peabody Award, which is the most prestigious award that anyone can win in the field of journalism, as well as our School of Medicine, which is upcoming, as well as School of Nursing, which will be opening next year as well. So we are going to increase that number sharply in the next year as well. But the cool thing about our university is that we will boast a 1 to 17 faculty student ratio. So what that means, obviously, is that for one PhD there in those classrooms, there'll be 17 students in those classrooms to make sure that these students are having that wonderful, intimate academic experience with our resources. And then we have 250 plus majors in academic programs, which those majors are definitely increasing. We really practice interdisciplinarity at our university and really encourage students to double major if they can. It's very common to triple major, like I did in undergrad. So we do really encourage students to really find what gets them up in the morning, just as we encourage them to do in the application process. And the reason I wanted to really direct you this landscape is because that is how we actually go about viewing these applications. We really want students to be a great fit for our institution. So really showing us not just being well-rounded, but showing us that they have the means to explore what they specifically want to get out of a college education. That is going to be ringing a lot more truer and a lot more palpably for us when it comes to evaluating those applicants. So on to the next slide here. We have a full view of our increase of application numbers throughout the years. And as you'll see on the top, this is 2018. 2018, 2017 was actually when I applied to the University of Georgia. And I always love to joke with our students that that was when the dinosaurs roamed the earth. Parents will look at me and be like, Josh, do not remind me that 2017 is almost 10 years ago. It makes me feel bad too as well. But it really just kind of shows you that the ballpark has definitely shifted. That ballpark is under construction and is trying to increase the size of its audience that can be in that ballpark, right? So as you see, from 2018 to 2025, we've increased almost by 20,000 applications. And I'll give y'all some more numbers later on that will show you what the numbers look like for this upcoming class, that fall 2026. But the admit rate is getting lower and lower. But most importantly, we have this target to enroll every year for our fall cohort, our fall to spring cohort first year students, anywhere between 6,150 to 6,250. So anywhere between that is going to be the cap that we really want to try to shoot to enroll every year. And you'll see from a few other slides that this will take a lot of suit seeing, and a lot of prediction models, a lot of mind reading to see what students will probably even make, what decisions they'll make when it comes to that May 1st commitment deposit deadline. So that will also trickle down into how we are kind of managing the applications that we are receiving too. Another thing too is that this year we are actually going to be expecting about a 30% admit rate. So that admit rate will decline, and we'll see that in the next few slides too. But this slide right here is going to be a breakdown of our shifts in that enrolling class for our fall to spring first year cohort. And as you'll see here, this will correspond mostly with our university infrastructure expanding. So like I used that ballpark analogy, we're wanting to really see that we are going to have enough room to encapsulate a wonderful experience for those students coming into our campus. And our goal from 2024 to the end of the decade is to increase that fall cohort by 0.5%, all the way up to 6,250. So that will be around the range of what we want to enroll every year. And like I said, that will take a lot of soothsaying. That'll take a lot of prognostications. That'll take a lot of mind reading on our end to kind of see what students are going to determine when it comes to committing or maybe declining that offer to be admitted to our university. So all these things kind of come together to really give us a full picture of what we are going to be kind of seeing when it comes to those students' decision making, and also our decision making on our end when it comes to having those applications right in front of us. I'll also go ahead and say too that we also do have a focus mostly on our in-state population. So that means that we are mostly going to want to focus our recruitment as well as our admission rates for our in-state students, given our goals and given what the trends have been in recent years. So that means that we have this 80-20 split, which means that we need to make sure that our current student population is 80% Georgia residents and 20% non-Georgia residents, which also includes international students as well. And that is because we're a flagship public institution. We carry the state's name, and we also carry most of the state's tax dollars to support key students in our communities here in the Athens community. So what that really looks like is that it will mean that students will have the same criteria if they're applying out of state. They'll still have the same requirements, but the bar might be just a little bit higher when those students are applying to University of Georgia. And that's something we'll see later on. When I'm reading an application, I'm not looking at what state that student's coming from. I'm just looking at the context of that student within the context of their community and school. And we'll talk about that just in a second. But I would say the most important thing here is to know that with other universities, we're also seeing this trend also ring true for other institutions too. So for instance, UNC Chapel Hill are the other first public university in the United States. I always joke that we were the first ones to be state chartered. They were the first ones to have class. They have an 82% to 18% ratio. So 18% of their students need to be non-residents, and 82% of those students need to be Georgia residents. UT Austin has even gone ahead and codified that in law. Ours is not law, which we're trying to avoid that. I was talking to one of my colleagues, we're actually trying to avoid making that law. But for UT Austin, they actually have that codified in law, and that means that 90% of their students must be in-state and 10% of those students must be out of state. So that's a trend that we're seeing across other big public flagship institutions as well. But I will definitely just want to say that that mainly will trickle into what the all total numbers look like and what our priorities are for any given year. So that could change, but it really is dependent on what the application pool looks like. Next slide here. So this is going to be our admitted class profile. And like I said, I'm just prefacing a few things before we get into the nitty gritty about how we are going to actually go through evaluating those applications specifically when they're in front of us on that desk, right? So on the left here, you'll see the applicant pool profile from last year. These students are getting ready to wrap up their first year of college. Congratulations to them. But you'll see that we had 47,000 applications last year, which was about a 13% increase, 12% increase from the previous year. And this is going to be the average of all those students within that class. These are not, excuse me, all the total of the whole applicant pool. So that is going to actually be that whole applicant pool's averages. So they average a 3.81 GPA with a 29 ACT and a 1200 SAT as well. But as you'll see on the right side, you'll see what the admitted student profile looks like specifically. And you'll see that those numbers were significantly higher for the students who successfully went through that process for us. But all these numbers are mostly going to be within the context of our application process. And we'll talk about that in a second about how we actually recalculate GPAs that we receive. So those GPAs are not going to be the same GPA on your transcripts at your school. We will recalculate GPAs using just the letter grades, and then we'll add weight towards any of the IB or AP courses available at that school and that they take in at that school specifically. So context is really important, and we'll delve into that in just a second here. So next slide here. So dog bites. These are a few data points from this class. So like I said at the beginning of this presentation, we're still trying to cook up what the final numbers will look like as students get admitted next March. So March 6th, we are going to see them actually getting admitted. So next month, be on the lookout for those decisions. But as of right now, we have 51,400 total applications in our first year class right now. And that was an 8% increase from last cycle. And a lot of those students actually came from our early action process. So that's a new trend. We're seeing students apply early nowadays. And we are encouraging them, if you feel strong about your application, UGA feels like it'll be one of your top choices, I encourage you, go ahead and apply early. We'll talk about what could possibly happen if you apply early and just at the end of the slide, at the end of the presentation, excuse me, just a minute. But another trend here is we're getting 10,000 applications who were actually successfully admitted through our early action process. So a lot of students do get admitted through our early action process, and that was a 13% increase. You'll also see a big spike in our out-of-state international applicants. About 57% of those students were out-of-state international applicants. And the fun fact is that we actually increased the amount of high schools we received applications from, which means that context is very important. We definitely encourage you guys to give us a lot of insight into what those schools are offering for these students. So really, that does mean that a lot of students are applying from out of state, and that coupled with the focus on in-state applications, that may mean the bar is going to be significantly higher for those students getting in. And then as y'all see that number, 6,250 right there, that is going to be the number of our projected enrolled students for this upcoming class. And I love to point out there at the bottom, the prognosticators, the mind readers, they're working hard behind the scenes. We actually have one of our leadership members actually meeting with the president today to determine some of those cutoffs. So we want to make sure we're ensuring a slim margin of error given our capacity with the new dorms coming up this coming year. We have a new dining hall, a new medical school, and a new school of nursing. These are going to really reflect what we're looking for when it comes to enrolling those students in our upcoming class. Next slide here. All right, so here's the narrowest part of it, what the application journey looks like. So this is actually going to be chronological, how we actually are going through that journey here. And you'll see here that it always will start with the transcript. So we will review the transcript and we will calculate those GPAs using our own scale. We actually have a 5.0 scale. So that means that the highest GPA that a student can get is a 5.0, but most students will not get a 5.0 on our scale because that means that they'll need to take every single AP class available at their school, which is not feasibly possible, in my opinion. I don't think that's possible. I've seen some applicants try it, but it's not possible. So we will say that all students will more than likely be somewhere near that 4.0, and then we'll just add weight towards any of the AP or IB courses that are offered that they're taking at the school. So they can get very close to that 5.0, but most likely they're not going to get to that 5.0. We also do go a co-curricular review. That means extracurriculars. So that means our readers who are reading for extracurriculars will start first, and then it'll hit our desk for the academic review. And if you go to the next slide, I'll show you what that specifically looks like when it comes to being in front of that application on my computer screen. So the top here will constitute the co-curricular review, and we're looking for activities and leadership. I always say depth over breadth. We were looking for students really getting involved in one or two clubs. It could be 3 clubs, but making sure that they are going the full mile given their interest and their dedication to that one club or 2 clubs. We also are looking for writing and creativity. Creativity can be represented through the engagements that they're getting involved with outside of classrooms, such as orchestra, chorus, dance. I saw a student who loves Legos. They actually taught Legos to students in their community, and they were helping students really find a creative outlet for their love for science and STEM. So that's really what we're looking for, especially in the essay too. And then community service is also important when it comes to that co-curricular view, such as that Lego student who was helping his community out and teaching students in the community how to use Legos to get that basis in STEM. And then we also have on the bottom our academic review. So that means that we're looking for academic promises, trends, intellectual challenges. That means that the rigor of their curriculum, we really are valuing that highly in our application process. So we do encourage students to try to take at least one AP or IB or dual enrollment course in all of those 5 core areas, which includes your foreign language, your math, your science, and your English and social studies. And then lastly, work ethic and maturity, which can be really exuded and represented in various facets of the student's character. The rec letter can definitely be a great indicator of that student's work ethic and maturity, as Roth kind of told us in his presentation as well. So context. What do I mean by context? And you can honestly go ahead to the next slide there, and I'll show you what that actually means for us. So really, I always tell parents and students that it means that we're wanting to account for the things that are outside of your control so you can focus on the things that are within your control, and we can focus on the things that are outside of your control. That is pretty much what a holistic review process entails, and really entails us meeting the applicants where they are, right? That includes the family dynamics. We actually get a red square on our status portal that tells us if a parent is in a single parent household, tells us that that student is navigating any things that they've had to overcome adversity wise. Income, if a student has to work after school, that was my case when I was in high school, that I have to work with our family business to supplement our income in our house. The location. I know in Alabama, some rural schools might not have the same opportunities as schools that are in maybe the Birmingham or Huntsville area. So we're really taking that into consideration as well. We also, schools are very important. We had about 6,000 different high schools all represented in our application pool. So that means that there's no way that all these schools are doing things the same way. So that school profile in that school report is very important to us. And matter of fact, as an academic reader, that is the first thing I want to look at when it comes to reading that transcript, right? I don't even look at the transcript. I go right to school profile before I even look at the transcript. So yes, definitely being as comprehensive with what's incorporated in that school profile or school report is definitely going to be helpful for us, especially when it comes to any limitations that has to do with APs or IB courses. Like Roth said, it does help if you're also telling us about that in the letter of rec too. And then interest, that can really incorporate anything that comes with the students' passions, their endeavors. We really want to see sometimes students doing things that are a little bit different from what they're trying to go to college for, right? So this is all context that we want to simply meet the students in when they're specifically meet the students where they are in that process. So interests are also very important too. All right, so to close out, here are just some recent trends I'll kind of do a little speed run through. So the first trend is the fact that we are deferring through early action specifically. We are trying to destigmatize and that concept of being deferred. It really just means that we need more time to read the application to make sure that we're putting the same amount of effort that you put in the application, and just make sure that we're reciprocating that effort in our own review process too. So deferring is not the nail in the coffin for students. We do see students sometimes getting really disappointed and despondent in the fact that they've been deferred to UGA, but it really just means that we want to make sure we're having enough time to really fully get the full breadth of that application. And then we're also seeing a trend with wait lists. So wait lists. We're also seeing this being a very common decision for regular student applicants. And that is to make sure that we are not going over that enrollment goal of the 6,250 per year, right? So we're also actually seeing that being replicated in our transfer process starting this year. So this year, we will more than likely start utilizing a transfer process waitlist too, which just kind of shows you the amount and the high volume of students that we're getting in our applicant pools and the high quality of the students that we're getting in our applicant pools as well. So what I tell students, especially for first year applicants, is if you are waitlisted to universities like UGA, we want to tell you that we most likely will not pull your name off the waitlist until after the May 1st commitment deposit deadline. So go ahead and make plans tentatively for the institutions that you're planning on possibly attending for the upcoming fall year to make sure that you're going somewhere for college, right? Shift towards a conscious, major aware reviews. We are wanting to definitely turn our attention towards making sure that students are getting ready for that major that they're wanting to pursue at UGA. We don't admit by major like other universities do, but we want to make sure that students are equipped with what they need to get started. So, for instance, if they're wanting to do a STEM major, like a math major or even an engineering major, we want to encourage them to definitely take AP Calculus or maybe an AP Physics course because they'll be taking a lot of that during their time at UGA. Recommendation letters and resumes. Like Ross said, we definitely will encourage y'all to give us a recommendation letter. Recommendation letters are optional for UGA, but over 90% of our applicants are actually granting us recommendation letters from someone in their community or you guys or a teacher within their school. And we also are seeing students also incorporate resumes. So I really would tell your students, rising seniors, go ahead and start developing that resume over that summer to get ready to incorporate into their Common App as well as their applications for other schools too. Next thing, dual enrollment versus AP and IB. We treat dual enrollment and AP IB courses the same. That means that they are both rigorous courses to us, right? We understand that dual enrollment classes are college classes. Only difference between dual enrollment and AP is that we do not add weight toward dual enrollment classes because they're not as standardized as AP and IB courses. So I do recommend encouraging students, depending on what your school offers, to take a good mix of both of those courses, as that really does help with making sure they're challenging themselves through different metrics and means given what's offered at their school. And the last two things here, college algebra. Just want to say one thing, our director of admissions is really big on this. We don't offer college algebra at UGA, and a lot of schools like UGA does not offer college algebra either. What that means is that we want students to really know that to get the highest math available at your school, depending on what's offered at your school, it may be college algebra, but if you have an AP calculus course or maybe a college pre-calculus, that may be a little bit more challenging for you as a student, given what's offered at UGA. So we definitely want to encourage students to try to prioritize taking the college pre-calculus, maybe a college calculus, or maybe AP calculus or AP stats over a college algebra. But if that's the only thing that's offered at your school, we would not penalize them on that. And then demonstrate interest is something we also do not do as well. Some schools like Tulane will also practice demonstrated interest, but large public universities like UGA typically will not utilize demonstrated interest in their process. So that was a lot of information I went through, but I definitely want to leave my information here for you guys on the screen. My name is Josh Williams. I serve as your admissions rep for the University of Georgia in Alabama. I'm actually in Athens, but I do serve as a representative here for you guys. So if you have any questions or wanting to definitely schedule some time to chat or maybe scheduling a virtual visit at one of your schools, I would be more than happy to oblige, as that is what I'm here for. And then at the end, we do also have a few website links there for y'all to check out too. I recommend checking out our blog, as that blog will have some data, some more information about our upcoming class, as well as some information from our director of admissions. And he also does answer questions directly from folks who comment on those blog posts. So if you have any questions directly tailored towards what you want to specifically get answered, I do also encourage y'all to really comment down there in the blog post too. But thank y'all so much for your time. And I'm going to actually hop off as I have a few meetings as well. But thank y'all so much, Dr. Odom and Samantha, for letting me chat about the University of Georgia and how we do our selective admissions process. But thank y'all so much.
Thank you so much, Josh, and we appreciate you being here. We will send out your information, and just so everyone has an update, just to make sure that we respect everyone's time, we are going to move into Chandra's presentation, and then we're kind of going to skip that break that we had built in just so that we can finish on time. So at this time, I would like to present Ms. Chandra Scott, the Executive Director of Alabama Possible, and if it's okay, I'm going to let you move right into that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And it is just, I'm so excited to be with this group today. And so hopefully I can give you a little bit of information about who Alabama Possible is and a lot of information about Alabama Directed Admission, which I'm hoping a lot of you have already been participating in. So like she said, I'm Chandra Scott, the Executive Director of Alabama Possible. We are a statewide nonprofit that's headquartered in Birmingham. And our mission is really to remove barriers to prosperity, and was done through advocacy, education, and collaboration. And here's the amazing team that leads this body of work. I like to refer to us as the small but mighty team of Alabama Possible. A lot of you may be very familiar with May Whiting and CMR and Hagel. because they really lead our Alabama Goes to College campaign. Next slide. And so I want to share real quickly, most of you probably know us in the space of post-secondary access, but we also have three other pillars of work, which are post-secondary success, advocacy, and civic engagement that really leads the work that we do. And those pillars really are wrapped in our mission of removing barriers to prosperity, and mainly because we want to ensure that every Alabamian has access to a post-secondary journey, but without really jeopardizing their financial futures. Next slide. So I want to share, which I'm hoping many of you are familiar with and hopefully participating in, is our Alabama Goes to College campaign, which has three components to it. The first is our Cash for College. So this is really the component in which we work to get the universal FAFSA in our state and got that policy passed. And here we really elevate the completion of the FAFSA and providing resources, tools, and training to all high school career coaches, counselors, and any other CBOs who do post-secondary access work. And then we have the Alabama College Application Week, which is so fitting that it's this week that it's happening. And so we want to make sure that students have the financial barrier of having to pay for application fees to apply for college. And so this is one of the, we actually offer this twice a year now. It used to be only once a year. But because it's such a popular week, we were able to get it approved for twice a year. And so I definitely recommend that all students take part in this. We have all the colleges listed on our website. So make sure your students are taking advantage of this week where they can apply to college without paying that application fee. And then finally, the College and Career Decision Day. So to me, this is probably one of the most important parts of the component because in our state, you know, we're an athletic state. We love football. And of course, we always celebrate our athletes, but we also want to make sure that we celebrate every student who takes on a post-secondary pathway, regardless of the choice, whether it's a 4-year, 2-year, military, technical, skill trade. We want to make sure that they are celebrated because they say yes to continue their journey past high school. Next slide. So here, I just wanted to highlight some of the resources that our campaign offers. Obviously, we have the Educator and Student and Families Guidebook that we utilize to really support students and families and educators in engaging students in charting that pathway, you know, helping them understand the choices they need to make, the things they should be aware of, the courses they may need to be taking soon, recommendation letters, which you've heard a lot of, and who those should be, how to choose your top tier, middle tier, and bottom choice schools and the things you should be looking at. And then one of my favorites is the not 13th grade. And so this is a document that we like to share with students so they can understand the transition they're making from high school to a post-secondary pathway. And one example I'll always like to give that always trips students up and is when we ask them about when your professor presents their office hours in the syllabi, do you know what that means? And 9 times out of 10, most high school students right out of high school tell us that's the time that my professor is not available. And you have to realize that's because in high school, most of the time when counselors post their office hours outside their doors, those are the hours they're not available. And so helping students to understand the transition between high school language and how it's utilized in college, the difference between counselor and advisor, all of those things are part of our not 13th grade document. And then case studies we like to do just to share best practices. Now here, in our national rankings around FAFSA completion, I'm excited to say that since I've submitted these slides, we have actually gone up a couple of notches in our rankings. We're now 26 in the nation in FAFSA completion, and we're still in second place for year over year completion. And so what that means is that you all are doing an amazing job in supporting your students and families in completing the FAFSA because we know FAFSA is the gateway to financial aid resources for our students, especially by us living in a state, the seventh poorest state in the nation. We know there are lots of families and students who will need those financial aid resources to be able to say yes to a post-secondary journey. So I just personally want to say thank you to all of you who support and guide these students through in completing the FAFSA. Next. And so as you're supporting those students and those families, if you feel like there's additional supports they need, please feel free to share our help desk number with them. We're able to support students and families through text and phone call. And sometimes we even jump on for virtual calls through Zoom if they need that one-on-one walkthrough support. And of course, we're here for you as well. So hopefully you'll save that number on the screen here and as well to our website to be able to support you and through any questions you have in charting a post-secondary journey. So next, I want to now jump into Alabama Direct Admission Initiative. So this initiative we just launched for this fall for the class of 2026, and we're excited about this initiative. We have worked with counselors and career coaches for so many years and heard of so many barriers that students face in wanting to take on a post-secondary journey or even not thinking they are welcome to take part in this process. And so in the next slide, I want to talk about what Alabama Direct Admission is. So this is a process. We have partnered with EAB Match, which is part of the Appley platform, where we are streamlining the process of how students apply to college. Of course, you all know the way the students usually have to do is do an application. And then what I like to say is they go through a drip campaign that first they submit the application, then they get an admissions letter, then they get another letter saying, okay, now here's your financial opportunity, scholarship opportunity, then they get another email and it just continues, right? And so what we wanted to do is streamline the process. So instead of students going through the actual application process, we ask students to do what they do all the time because they're so accustomed to social media, is to create a profile. And so when students create profiles, this allows colleges to match themselves to the student. So the student would just add general information about themselves, of course, and they will upload their transcript to be able to showcase their academic success. And so colleges then match themselves to the students and send offers once a month to students, which also include scholarship offers. And so we have merged not only the admission offer, but the scholarship offer as well. So students and families can make decisions a lot faster on which college they can say yes to. And so what I love about this process, on the second bullet here, no rejection letters, only opportunities. We want to shift the narrative for students, especially students in our state who think they don't belong in a post-secondary journey. We want to show them that they do. And so this is just so excited, like I said, to launch this. Governor Ivey stood beside us and launched this on July 31st last year. And I have to be honest, when we launched this, we set a goal of being able to support about 5,000 students to create a profile this year. You go to the next slide. And I'm proud to say that this is one time that our goal was wrong. And so we're proud to share that we have supported over 17,000 students already through this process across the state. And I want to pause and just say thank you to you all because you all made that possible. The fact that you embraced this process, you shared it with your students, and they have embraced it themselves and created their profiles to make themselves eligible to receive these offers. And so, of course, we have over 500 schools, high schools that are participating, and we have 38 colleges in state that are participating in this process, not even including those that are participating from out of state. And so every student in our state has the opportunity to receive an offer letter from one of our community colleges in our state. And so that is what we're really excited about, is that the community college system partnered with us on this as well. So students who are not sure if they're ready to go to a four-year college yet have an opportunity to start at their local community college to get their post-secondary journey started. But what numbers truly impress us are the 197,000 admission offers that have already been received as of January 1st. And we're just days away. On March 1st, we'll be releasing the new numbers, and I cannot wait to see what that looks like. But that just tells you that every student is receiving more than one offer. And that's exciting because it tells us that students have options. They're seeing themselves receiving more than one college saying yes to them. And those colleges are not only saying yes, but offering them financial dollars to be able to afford this journey and saying yes that I belong on a college campus to continue their learning. Next slide. So I just wanted to quickly share some of the voices that we've heard through this process. And this is a particular student at Williamson High School in Mobile County, Mobile County is one of the largest school districts in the state. And this is a student who really was already planning to get her CNA license, and she thought that was it for her. Until she participated in Alabama Direct Admission, and she's received several offers with scholarships from institutions in state and out of state. And the fact that her mindset has shifted to saying, I didn't really have any hope for going to college until I received the matches and received the scholarships. And so that is what this is about. This is really about shifting the narrative and the mindset for students in our state that they belong and they are able to take on a post-secondary journey. And then we were able to hear from Dr. Motley, who Lee's the director of school and counseling services for Mobile County. And she just talks about how providing this is really creating a culture of making post-secondary access a reality for many students who really have only dreamt it. And so we're really excited to hear the voices of people who are walking this process and really seeing the results that Alabama Direct Admission was the right call for our state. And we're already seeing, like you said, the numbers are just amazing. Next slide. So while I have you, we are now trying to gather input from our high school counselors and career coaches across the state. So I ask that you would scan that QR code that's on the screen here. We've already heard from 62 high school counselors and career coaches, and we just started this, but this is for us to make sure that next year we provide an even better experience, not only for you, but for your students as well. And I just want to share just of those who have already taken this survey, the Net Promoter Score or the NPS score that we've received already is 45, which is very much above average. So that tells us that everyone that has taken this survey has had a great experience with Alabama Direct Admission. But we want to make sure that the experience continues to get better for our students because it's important for us that every student and family across our state knows that yes, they have an opportunity to take part of a post-secondary journey. That yes, there are resources that are available to support them, and we want to make sure that you feel supported through the process because you're the ones on the front lines that make this work possible to get us to the results that we are able to so proudly share on presentations like this. And so again, I just can't say enough about the work you all do every day in supporting our students and hoping that you're all taking part of our Alabama Goes to College campaign. And again, please take this survey to provide us your insights and how this experience has been for you. Next slide. And so here, I'd love to stay connected with those who are on the front line. So here are tools and ways to stay connected to us. We love for you to share whether good, bad, and the ugly of what's happening because it only allows us to make sure that we're providing you with the right resources and tools that you need to be successful every day. So again, thank you all so much for bringing me on and to be able to share the works of Alabama Possible and really to uplift this new initiative of Alabama Direct Admission.
Chandra, thank you so much for everything that you do in supporting school counselors and our students across the state. So we'll absolutely share your contact information out with everyone who's attended today.
Thank you.
I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Kristen Odom right now so she can introduce our next speaker.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Samantha. So I'm very excited to introduce you all to a very good friend of mine, Mr. Ronnie Stallworth, Sr., who is on here with us this morning. And I'm going to give his quick little bio and then let him jump right in. But Ronnie is a native of Mobile, graduated from the University of South Alabama in 2003, earning a Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. He earned his Master's in Business Administration from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business in 2009. He's currently the Vice President of Business Development Strategy for Hargrove Engineers and Constructors, Central USA region. He does a lot of travel for this job. During his nearly 40-year career, Stallworth rose from a non-degreed hourly employee to corporate vice president. His travel with his work experience is more than 70 countries wide, so he has done a lot with the company. Stallworth is currently president of the University of South Alabama National Alumni Association Board of Directors. He serves on the school board of directors for Excel Day and Evening Academy and the Mobile Museum of Art Board of Directors. He served on the National Petrochemical and Refiners Association Facility Safety Committee and the Board of Directors for the Boys and Girls Clubs of South Alabama. In 2004, he established the Stallworth Chemical Engineering Scholarship Endowment at the University of South Alabama, and he is a published author, which is what he's going to share a lot of with us today, of Cracks in the Wall, and he currently lives in Mobile. He has 2 children and 4 grandchildren. So again, very excited to have Ronnie as our keynote speaker because he has a unique story and really for us can kind of represent some of our students and the potential they have, and that we need to not forget about that when we're working with these students. All right, Ronnie, passing it over to you.
No, okay. Thank you, Kristen. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today. I do apologize. I'll be moving pretty quickly. I do have a backstop with some all-day meetings or rest of the day meetings, but I'll breeze through very quickly on the slides and hopefully have a little time at the end to talk. But I do want to just give you a little background about me. I grew up here in Mobile, as Kristen mentioned. My dad was born in 1905. He was nearly 62 years old when I was born. I did grow up in a single family home. I was raised by my dad. My mom left us when I was around 3 years old. My dad raised us 4 boys. I took a bath once or twice a week. During that time, we didn't have running water in my house, and we were getting water in the gallon milk jugs from my neighbor's outside faucet. I was extremely shy, and I couldn't read until I was around 13 years old. I took remedial classes for the students that needed a little bit of extra time to learn. I did that until I was around 14 years old, and then unfortunately my dad passed away when I was 16, and I ended up homeless, sleeping in my car here in Mobile in Spring Hill Memorial Hospital parking lot, if you're familiar with that hospital. And I went to Murphy High School, which is where I graduated, but I slept in my car my senior year of high school and took a bath at the field, washed my clothes there at the football field house, and took baths at Murphy High School periodically. And I did get my chemical engineering degree from South, but it took me 14 years of going to school part-time and also working full-time job, 60, 70 hours a week, sometimes working shift work. So it was not the ideal way to go. I didn't go directly out of high school, so I took a non-traditional route. I do want to tell you a quick story. In July of 1981, I was the summer after my 8th grade year. I was doing work at my house, which I typically do. We needed to work after school. And one of my classmates was walking through with this backpack, and I asked him why did he have his backpack, and he said he was in summer school. And he said I should have been in summer school as well because I had failed classes. And it really didn't dawn on me then, but over the next week or so, it kind of started gnawing on me that I needed to check. So I rode over to Hillsdale Middle School, which is was a middle school here in Mobile, and I talked with the principal, and he said you failed math and English, so you didn't go to summer school, and you're gonna have to repeat the 8th grade. And that my heart sunk because I was like I said, I was from a tough environment there, and my dad really expected me to handle my business, and I felt like I'd failed him and others. So I was in tears. I went back and told my dad that I failed the 8th grade, and he said, "You need to go back and talk to your principal again and see if he'll let you go to the last little bit of summer school and take the final exam." So I talked to my principal, and he said he would ask the principal it was Sidney Phillips, Phillips Preparatory School now, if he would let me take the final exams for math and English. So I rode my bicycle from Mobile Terrace in West Mobile down to Sidney Phillips School, which is about 6 miles. And I I took the final exam. I was 2 days left in summer school. I took the final exam for math and English, and I had studied all of the homework that I could find in the corners of my house. And um, I waited a day or so and rode my bicycle back over to talk to my principal at Hillsdale, and he said, "Ronnie, you passed." He said, "You made a B on the math final exam and a C on the English final exam, so you passed and you're going to the ninth grade." And that was really a turning point in my life where I knew I had the ability to do it. I just needed to apply myself, and starting to get emotional now, even thinking about it, that being in that situation. But a lot of times, students, when they're like me, very shy and didn't have success along the way in school, we question whether we belong. We doubt ourselves and our abilities. But when we have people around us that help us and give us a chance to show our abilities, we can do more. So if you go to the next slide. Um, so I'm going to talk to you about some of the walls that we have in life, some of the barriers that we face. You can see my book there is called Cracks in the Wall. What my dad said is you're always going to have these barriers in front of you, these walls that prevent you from being successful. It might be the shyness, it might be inability to read clearly, may not have confidence. Whatever it is, those walls are not insurmountable. They all have weak spots. They all have cracks that you can get through, and you can be successful. And everybody on this call, we face challenges every day, and we have in the past as well. But if we stay focused on the challenge, on that wall, that barrier, we lose momentum and we don't grow. But when we focus on getting past it, we can be successful. And for me, my biggest walls were internal. This just me being vulnerable. It took me longer to learn than most people, and even today it takes me longer than most people to learn things. So I've learned over time how to carve out more time for me to prepare, and especially if I've got critical meetings that are coming up. I also couldn't always connect the dots from where I am today and where I needed to be. People helped me out, helped me learn ways to better kind of see the path of where I was going. And that's something that I've been able to do better, more efficiently myself over the years. And I mentioned I had self-doubt. I really didn't feel like I belonged in the classes that I was in. And even throughout college, I questioned whether I had the ability to get through chemical engineering, which was very, very difficult curriculum. And then the last thing here is I really didn't have a plan, and I wasn't a doer. A lot of people talk about doing things, but we really need to be doers in life, and even with the little things, so we make progress towards the bigger goals that we're going in. And I've learned over time how to be more of a doer. Now, these are things that are internal, but if, like a lot of us do, if you hit the slide one more time, there are some external factors that I faced as well. I could look at those and say those were reasons that I struggled. We were extremely poor. We didn't have any life insurance, no will or inheritance. So from a hope perspective, for thinking about the future, it just wasn't there for me. I didn't really know about those things. People gave me poor advice along the way as well. If one size fits all advice doesn't work. And a lot of times when I was in school, people would say, you just need to study more. But I didn't know how to study. So it would create anxiety and really wasn't helpful for me. But if somebody had taken the time to show me some techniques for studying, it would have given me a better success and not made my path so difficult. Also, I didn't feel like teachers didn't know my situation. Didn't feel like a lot of the teachers really cared. The reality is they were probably busy and just didn't have time for a customized learning plan for me. But most of the time when I got home, I needed to work. We would work on cars, or we had a garden in the backyard where we sold vegetables. I needed to do that when I got home, and sometimes I couldn't get my homework done on time. And then the last thing here is me taking a bath once or twice a week. I didn't always smell the best, and students would kind of make fun of me at school, and that has also created some anxiety and caused me to be, caused my shyness to really kick in even more. But hit the slide one more time. The reality is those external factors are always going to be there in our lives. Even today I face things that challenge me externally, but I need to look internally at how I can not let these barriers, these walls, impact my ability to continue growing. And and one of the things I do want to mention when I talk about cracks in the wall is you can't blame the person that put the wall there. I can't blame anyone for these things on the right hand side here. If I focus on that, it takes me away from where I need to be looking forward and growing. So we hit the slide one more time. So today, I want you to think about the kid I described earlier. But today, as Krista mentioned, I have a Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering from the University of South Alabama. I have an MBA from the University of Chicago, which is top-ranked business school, is ranked ahead of Harvard, Yale, a lot of those schools. It's a great school. I've traveled to over 70 countries, and I retired as vice president of a Fortune 100 company, which is Honeywell, which is a very large company. And I did start a chemical engineering scholarship, which I've awarded over 60 of those scholarships at South, and board of directors on four different organizations. And I got kind of a second career here at Hargrove as vice president of business development strategy. That's over for our central region, which we have 7 offices and then some specialty divisions that I'm over. I'm president of the University of South Alabama National Alumni Association, and we have over 100,000 alumni, a published author, and just last week, Governor Ivey, she appointed me to the Board of Trustees for the University of South Alabama, and that still needs to go through the Senate confirmation, but I did receive that appointment last week. So if you go to the next slide. So what I ask folks to do when I'm speaking with them is to look at the young man here on the left-hand side as a hidden gem, someone that has the ability to do a whole lot more than what it looks like he could. Even when I look at it's got more hair than me, but when I look at the little guy here on the left-hand side, I couldn't really see all of this stuff on the right-hand side because I wasn't exposed to it. But I was a hidden gem. I had the ability to do a whole lot more. And then a gem seeker is someone who can kind of look beyond the outer appearance of a person and see the talents that they have, and then help them achieve their goals. And the roles that you're in, they're very instrumental in being gem seekers and identifying students and helping them move forward. And the reality is just one person that can get out and create scholarships and do other things to help a lot of other people. That force multiplier, you guys are in such a pivotal position to be able to do that. It's a critical role that you're in because all of us must go through the path that you guys are the conduit that you guys have created. So if you go to the next slide, I just wanted to leave a few things with you as I wind down here. Hidden gems don't always recognize great opportunities. You can put it in front of them, but they just may not recognize it just due to their current circumstances or ability to absorb what they have before them. they may choose to keep the status quo versus becoming visible. I was extremely shy, and there have been times I've stepped forward to do extra work, do extra tasks, but that caused me to become visible. And a lot of people just don't want to do that. They would rather keep the status quo. Um, Hidden gems can't always connect the dots from point A to point B. A lot of what you do is helping students see that they continue progressing. At some point, they'll be able to be in position to live a great life and have some generational wealth for their families. That's something that a lot of people can't see. So again, you're in a pivotal position to be able to help them connect the dots. This is a big one. They may want free fish versus learning how to fish. That's a short-term option versus a long-term option. But sometimes we do give free fish, but we also should be trying to make sure we're putting sustainable actions and processes in place for people to be successful long-term. And hidden gems, they're going to make more mistakes just by the fact that they're doing a lot of stuff that's in uncharted waters. Just be aware of that. And then for gem seekers, we have to override the expression first impressions are lasting. Sometimes it's second or third impressions that before you really see beyond what's on the exterior of a person. The second thing is these hidden gems, they can't be polished without some friction. It's going to be some challenges, difficulty, things we may not understand, but we have to realize there's going to be friction and just keep helping them. And again, today I do this on my job where I'm, have teammates that report to me, and I want to see them grow because I see their abilities, and sometimes it creates a little friction, but we learn how to push through that because there are better days ahead. And then we're all good at something. If we can help people start small and build on those little pockets of success, that makes us that'll give them some momentum and act like a generator, so they can start doing things on their own. And I mentioned about the free fish versus teaching them how to fish, and then preconceived notions. They can be debilitating for all of us. Some financially poor people aren't poor. And likewise, people that are maybe financially wealthy, some of them are poor in other areas, or lack good decision making. So just keep those things in mind. Next slide, please. We're kind of wrapping up here. This is something from Usain Bolt. He said he trained 4 years to be able to run 9 seconds, and people give up when they don't see results in 2 months. It's kind of funny, but a lot of the work we do is building blocks to a better future. We may not see the great results of them for years down the road, but if we can help people just make continuous progress, we'll eventually get there. And then the last slide has just got my contact information on there, and my also information about my book if you're interested in reading it. But it really does give some specific details about how to reach hidden gems, and give you some insight into my thinking. But none of us can be successful without people helping us out. And that's been the case with me, and that's why I'm not on the front cover of my book. I'm not on the front cover, but I am on the back cover because I can't see it on the picture here, but it is important that we recognize people when they help us out. So that's what I want to talk about, Kristen. And sorry for speeding through it.
Thank you so much, Ronnie, for sharing your story with us and how you got to where you are today and the perseverance that took and having to overcome some of those barriers. But like you said, having support along the way. And I think for us, that's what's most important is remembering that as counselors, and we have some of our college friends who have now joined us because they're giving their little overviews in just a moment. But just knowing that we need to keep our eyes open for these hidden gems because not everybody is going to give that outer appearance of what's going on. And I think it's important for us in our roles to help students along the way. So again, thank you so much, Ronnie, for your time. We really appreciate it. And we'll send out your information to everyone to for your book. And again, thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so we are going to cover a couple of things just as reminders to make that we actually go back a couple of slides real quick while some of our college friends are joining us for their overviews. So we have, of course, if you haven't seen the emails coming through, an exciting conference for SACAC coming up in New Orleans in just a few short weeks. So we're hopeful that everyone will be able to make that. But if you need more information, you can scan the QR code here. You'll go to the next one. Couple of other events coming up this summer, our summer seminar and the Sweet Tea Tour. So I believe there's the recent call for faculty for summer seminar. That deadline just passed, so they're getting all the details together for summer seminar. And then also the Sweet Tea Tour is coming up in June, I believe, which will have several colleges involved in that. So it's a great opportunity, especially if you're a newer counselor or maybe want to refresh yourself on some of the different schools. If you haven't been able to visit in a while, that's a great opportunity to hit several colleges during that time. So there's a list on the SACAC website as well for all of those colleges. And that registration, I believe, opens up tomorrow or by the end of this week, if I'm not mistaken. And then the Counselor Participation Fund is a fund that supports counselors. So a lot of us, if you are wanting to participate in these things and need some additional funding, maybe if your school does not always support or have the funds to support different professional development opportunities. So just make sure if you want to scan this, and again, we'll send out this information. There have been several emails that have gone out from SACAC, but if you need that information, again, please let us know. We're happy to get it to you, or one of the other chairs of the state and area initiatives can make sure to send that information to anyone who needs it, because we want to make sure that y'all can take advantage of everything. And then some college admissions workshops are also coming up. So again, we'll leave this QR code on the screen for just a second in case you are interested in any of the different college planning workshops that are coming up. So again, these are little short ads for several events that SACAC puts on. If you have not seen the emails, SACAC does a great job of kind of having everything compiled and several links to the different things coming up. So there's so many opportunities. Of course, we would love for everybody to volunteer with different leadership roles as well. I know there are some calls for chair or co-chair positions. And so again, if you're interested in looking for leadership in SACAC, those are great opportunities for everyone. Okay, so now we are going to move to our college overviews and updates. I believe JSU Jacksonville State is first. There we go. Perfect. Do we have our Jacksonville State representative with us? Perfect.
I'm here. Thank you. Yes, I'll jump right in. Thanks so much. I'm glad I got to hear Mr. Stallworth speak for a little bit. That was fun and inspiring for sure. So my name is Brett Underwood. I'm from Jacksonville State University. I'm officially our coordinator of out-of-state recruitment. But it's great to be with y'all here today. I'm not going to go through and read every single thing on the slide, but I do want to point out a couple of key things. So you can see our popular majors there with nursing, education, criminal justice, forensic investigation. Forensic investigation specifically on that is a very popular one at Jacksonville State. And I know that a lot of colleges have these types of programs. A couple of are more, I guess, unique programs or things that aren't as widely offered that stand out to students. I would say film. And then sport management and recreational leadership, specifically the recreational leadership side of that is pretty unique. And then our applied manufacturing engineering program is unique as well. Also, for those of you who don't know where we are, I definitely want to mention that we're a little bit north of I-20, really close to the Georgia border. So almost directly between Atlanta and Birmingham. It's a great location. We're about an hour from Birmingham, an hour and a half from Atlanta, about an hour and a half from Chattanooga. So a really fun location right in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. A really pretty naturey area. Kind of fun fact, I actually live remotely and work in the Atlanta area. There's a trail, the Silver Comet Trail in Georgia that runs from Atlanta to the border of Alabama. You cross into Alabama and it turns into the Chief Ladiga Trail. Some of you may know about that. And that trail runs right through the middle of our campus. So I'm about 70 miles. If I wanted to bike, I would never bike 70 miles. But if somebody wanted to, they could theoretically from my house. So those are probably the majors. That's where we are. We are still accepting applications for seniors. So if you have seniors who are still looking, we're still accepting applications. We'll continue to offer our merit-based scholarships as well over the course of the coming months. We do not have a planned cutoff date for those merit-based scholarships. For upgrades to current scholarships based on test scores, we do need those by May 1st. So if you have seniors who either have applied and been admitted, or looking to continue taking an ACT or SAT, as long as we get those scores by May 1st, then we will upgrade the merit scholarships that have already been awarded there. I do want to highlight some of the new academic programs that are coming as well. You see, we're going to get a bachelor's degree in aviation, which we're excited about. It'll have a few different concentrations. Some of those final plans and details are still being ironed out, but it will be starting this fall. So excited to be adding that. A bachelor's degree officially in entrepreneurship. It's been a concentration for a while, but it's going to be its own degree now. And we are starting with a minor. And I think the official name now is going to be speech language pathology. And with the plan of that becoming a bachelor's degree as well in the next few years, as well as we're going to have a master's degree in speech language pathology also. I know that so many of us will probably say this at the end, but we would love to have you on campus. That is definitely the best way to get to know our campus. We do have in-person and virtual counselor events that are offered. Those are usually done early in the fall. So if you're not getting communication from us, please reach out. I will put my email address and our General University email address in the chat, so we can make sure that you're getting that communication so you have an opportunity to come and visit when that time comes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brett. And if you haven't caught on, it is a speed dating style of college overview. So that was perfect. Thank you so much. And next, we're going to have University of Mobile. Lauren.
Hi. Hey, my name is Lauren. I am an enrollment counselor at the University of Mobile. So just as a brief overview, we are a small private Christian university. We have about 2,000 students enrolled in total. So that creates a student to faculty ratio of 14-1. So that's, as you can see, very tight-knit community, hands-on learning experience. And that's something that we really push as a university. We really want our students to be plugged in with community. So we have a lot of events to support that. So one of my favorite events we actually just had yesterday, it's called Puppies and Panera, where we have rescue puppies come out in the patio and we have bagels and muffins and coffee, and all students can just come and just hang out. And it's just a super fun time. And that's just something that kind of we do a lot. We just have those types of events. But we rank #1 in Alabama in a few different areas. So we have the #1 nursing program in the state of Alabama. We have the #1 best music program, best dorms, and the safest college campus, which that's something that parents will really appreciate. We also offer scholarships based on your unweighted GPA, and then we also are test optional. And if you do come to visit campus, whether that's like a private tour, which can be scheduled with me or just other enrollment counselors, or we also have a preview day coming up March 23rd, so be sure to mark your calendars for that. You will receive a $2,000 scholarship as well. Applications are still open, and I know that it is free app week, but if you miss this week, we also have a code. So if that's going to be enroll in all capital letters, that will just waive the application fee. So this is a place that just really values spiritual, physical, and academic well-being. We love to have fun, and we also don't have classes on Fridays. We also have a really beautiful campus, 880 acres. So we would love to just host you for a tour and come meet you. So
thank you so much, Lauren. All right, next up is going to be Spring Hill College. I think Hannah, she's on.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, perfect. Good. Hey.
Perfect. Hi, guys. Like Kristen said, my name is Hannah Robertson. I am with Spring Hill College. We are located in Mobile, Alabama, just like the University of Mobile. So here are just some really cool stats about our school. We have around 1,000 students overall enrolled in our campus, but 700 are currently living on campus. So we have around 11-to-1 student to professor ratio, so a very close, tight-knit community as well. Our professors know our students very well. I am a part of our MBA program, and a cool thing for our MBA program, if students come here and graduate in 4 years with a 3.0 GPA, they can get 25% off their MBA program. Our professors have the highest degrees in their field, which is amazing and actually can help get our students internships. We always try to get our students internships around their junior year so they can go ahead and get their experience whenever they're ready to graduate. We have over 40 clubs and organizations. We have Greek life. We have actually a new swimming club that started this year, and y'all probably saw the news, but football is coming back to the Hill. So we have a flag football team now that does offer scholarships. So if you know any students who are interested in coming and wanting to play flag football and participate with us, we would love to have them here. If students come and get a tour on campus, just like for if we have a personalized tour, a big group tour, they will get $500 a semester. We also have a new scholarship this year called the Opportunity Grant. That's if students fill out their FAFSA with us. So if they fill out their FAFSA, they get an additional scholarship with us. We have a couple of events coming up. We have Badger Day that is coming up on March 21st. It's where students can come and just experience the full life of Spring Hills campus. And we also have an overnight event coming up on April 19th and 20th. This is an overnight event. So our students will come and get to stay on campus, get to come and experience campus culture at night. And then they can go and they can explore the campus and go and partner with students to see what a class is actually like for a college student. We do offer a free application on the Common App and our application. It's free year round. So students can go and apply whenever. We do require a minimum 2.5 weighted GPA to go ahead and be considered for scholarships, and we are test optional. I believe, and also I want to talk about this, our nursing program. We're getting a brand new nursing building as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Hannah. And next up, we have Montevallo. I think it's Casey.
Hi. Good morning, everybody. My name is Casey Slaughter. I'm the Director of Recruitment at the University of Montevallo. You probably know Montevallo is Alabama's only public liberal arts college in the state. So you have the benefits of going to a private school with the cost of public. So it's best of both worlds with that. We do require a 3.0 minimum GPA to be scholarship eligible. We will accept a 2.5 to a 2.9 as a conditional admit, but they will not be scholarship eligible. And we are test optional as well. We are participating in free application week and still accepting applications for the fall semester. So it's not too late for students to apply. But our scholarship deadline is March 1st, and this is for two things. Number one, if you have a student that has increased their GPA or test score and want to resubmit those, we can increase their scholarship offer. And then also our Award Spring scholarship application deadline is March 1st as well. These scholarships are going to be the non-merit, so based on what they're majoring in, leadership qualities that they have, where they're from, organizations that they're involved in. So check in with your students and make sure that they have all of those things submitted by March 1st. We offer campus tours Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Like Jacksonville State said, our campus is our biggest selling point, so we love to encourage our students to visit campus. And then we do have a spring preview day on March 14th. For our admitted students, we have an event called Future Falcon Day, where we all sit down with our students who need help completing their next steps. So if they need help with the FAFSA housing application, anything like that. And we have 2 of those events coming up in March as well. Some of our most popular majors are art, business, nursing, exercise science. We are also adding a new major in civic leadership starting next year, which we're really excited about too. While I have you all here, I do want to quickly mention Montevallo has been in the news lately. And as the media does, we are getting some negative press, but there's also a lot of really positive things happening with that as well. For example, we are closing some minors, but it's pretty standard practice for institutions of higher learning to do regular program audits. And unfortunately, these programs had little to no enrollment, probably should have closed before, but those classes are still going to be offered, and there's always a chance for those minors to come back as well. So for example, philosophy was one of them. Philosophy is a class that is built into the core curriculum of a lot of our majors. And so we will still be offering philosophy classes and African American studies and all of those things that really enrich a liberal arts type of education. And then I did want to mention really quickly too, the financial status of our university. We are stable, and we are in a place now where we have a balanced budget, and now we're going to be able to start putting some money back into our reserves And so I did just want to mention that as well. If you have questions, or if you have any students or adults that have questions about anything that's going on at Montevallo right now, my contact information is at the bottom of this page. Please reach out to me anytime. I'm happy to answer those questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Casey, for that update and clarification. It's always great because we always want all of our colleges and universities to thrive. So, all right, moving on. Next, we're going to South Alabama. I believe Trey is with us, hopefully.
Yes, can y'all hear me?
Hey, yes.
I also can't see myself, so I don't know what I look like. But good morning, everyone. Super excited to be here with you today, representing the University of South Alabama. My name is Trey Johnson. I serve as Assistant Director of the Office of Admissions, and I kind of oversee a lot of our recruitment logistics. The University of South Alabama is located in Mobile, Alabama, like some of our other sister universities that are here. We're a public four-year university. We consider ourselves regional mid-size. We have about 14,285 students enrolled on campus. About 3,300 of those students actually live here on campus. And so we're super excited about that. We're able to offer that traditional college experience to students who are looking for that. Some of our well-known majors, we're pretty much known for healthcare. About 45% of our incoming students come in to study something healthcare related. We have one of the largest and most competitive nursing programs in the state. Our nursing students are currently passing the NCLEX at a 99% pass rate. I think the national average is about 94%. So we're super proud of that. Our biomedical sciences major on the undergraduate level is one of the fastest growing majors on campus. And so we're super proud that we're able to offer that as well. Of course, we also have School of Medicine here, College of Medicine on our campus as well. One of the only other ones in the state outside of UAB, so we're proud of that. And then, of course, engineering is a really big one. We just announced a few months ago a new partnership where Airbus, they're bringing about 250 of their engineers to campus because they're looking to really grow in the aerospace area, excuse me, and they're looking to partner with South Alabama to do that. We also have one of the fastest growing marine environmental science programs in the country right now. It started about 4 or 5 years ago with about 20 students, and we're busting at the seams now with almost 500 students enrolled in that program. We've always had it on the graduate level, but we've recently offered it on the undergraduate level, and we're super excited about it. We actually are in the process of building a outdoor classroom down at Dolphin Island, which is only a rock's throw from campus. And we also have the Mobile Tensas River Delta just in our backyard as well. And so we're proud that our students get to be a part of a lot of great research that's going on in those areas. And then we also have business, computing, education, a lot of great majors all throughout our College of Arts and Sciences as well. So really anything students want to study, we offer over 115 different undergraduate programs here at the university. So super proud of that. As far as our admissions standards, we have a rolling admissions process. So we continue accepting students sometimes typically up until the first week of classes start for whatever term. For those incoming freshman students that are applying for fall 2026, our minimum requirements are a 19 on the ACT and a 2.5 high school GPA. And we do also have a test optional route to admissions as well, starting at least a 3.4 GPA. If students have somewhere between a 3.0 and a 3.39, we can review them. It goes through our test optional review process. And so we try to have an avenue available for those students as well. For our incoming students, we have guaranteed freshman admissions scholarships, a part of the admissions process. Students just have to be admitted before February 15th. I did check. We are currently still awarding scholarships and will continue to do so until there is no longer funding available. Typically, that runs out sometimes around April or sometimes into May, depending on how many students we have applying. There are also test optional scholarships available for students as well. Again, those are part of that holistic review process. So we do ask students to submit additional documentation as part of that. And our application is pretty much free year round because we have a free app code that students can use. And most of our counselors that we partner with have access to that, and they'd be willing to share it with you at any given time. I think that's my time. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out to us. I'll drop my information in the chat.
Thank you, Trey. All right, next up we have Sanford. I believe Bailey is with us.
Yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Bailey Baldwin. I serve as an undergraduate admission counselor at Samford. Just wanted to share some quick updates with you guys first. This has been a change, this admission cycle that we're currently in. We have pivoted to an early action plan. So if you have any interested juniors that are going to apply to Samford, we would really encourage them to go through this early action process, which does require them to have their application and their supporting materials in prior to November 1st. So would encourage you guys to think through that, and the rest of our admission plan is listed under that on the slide. We have had 3 pretty major updates to campus over the past several years as well. It started with a complete renovation of our cafeteria. It was a $10 million renovation that was done in a summer. So we've been really excited how that has served students. And then after that, we opened up our brand new rec center, which is just amazing. It's been really cool to see the ways that the students have utilized that as well. And then we kind of wrapped up the construction on that area of campus with a brand new freshman residence hall for there's a female side and a male side of it as well. So it's just been really cool to see the ways that students have kind of gone to that area of campus a lot more. So we're excited about that. If you have seniors that are still currently trying to decide where they want to end up, we do have 2 Choose Samford visit days coming up specifically for admitted seniors. One is this Friday, February 27th, and then the next one will be Friday, March 20th. We, of course, are still offering our campus tours Monday through Saturday most weeks, and we'd love to have them there, but these are specifically designed for seniors. On the junior side of things, we do have a junior preview day coming up on March 28th that we would love to have any interested juniors on campus for that. That is on a Saturday. And then lastly, we would love to host you guys on campus. So if y'all haven't been to campus in a while, definitely come to campus, check it out, see all the updates that we've made over the past 3 or so years. If you're interested in doing that, be sure to connect with your admission counselor. If you're unsure who that is, please feel free to reach out to me and I would love to connect you. I will be sure to drop my information in the chat. But yeah, I think that's everything. Thank y'all for being here and listening.
Thank you, Bailey. Now we're going to welcome Mackenzie, I believe, from Troy.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mackenzie Harris. I am our senior admissions counselor here at Troy University. So just some quick info about Troy. We do have about 6,000 plus students registered here at the Troy campus in Troy, Alabama. As we all know, we have a couple other support sites like in Montgomery and Dothan, and plus we do have a very big online presence as well. It's estimated to be in about the 50,000-ish marks beyond our global scope and everything. But here at the Troy campus, we do have over 110 plus major and minors available on campus. Our top 3 definitely falls within our College of Health Sciences with our School of Nursing. School of Nursing is obviously a big thing that we need in the world with everything going on. But I will say with our new health science programs, we have just opened our new Jones Hall, which is our home for all things health sciences here at Troy. Within our nursing program specifically, we do have a 99% pass rate on the NCLEX for our nursing students, which is phenomenal to brag about. Our business school is also having wonderful and amazing things going on with our entrepreneurship, RMI programs, as well as our School of Accounting, and obviously education at Troy. We did start off as an education school back in 1887, and we have only gotten bigger and better in expanding our teacher education programs as well. My favorite part about Troy is our student involvement and student life on campus. We do have over 200 plus different student organizations on campus, ranging from things like honor societies, community service type clubs, Greek sororities and fraternities as well. Plus, we do have Division I athletics, which is also a great way to utilize our student body and create that hometown, home feel community. Just some admissions updates with us here at Troy. Our applications are still open for our current seniors, and they will be open up until our classes start here at the main campus as well. We are test optional. We do require at least a 2.5 high school GPA from your 9th to 11th grade year in order for us to get you accepted here at Troy. Scholarships at Troy, even though the application for merit-based scholarships closed on February 1st. We do still have funding available. We would love to help your students out with scholarships. They are merit-based. We do require at least a 20 on the ACT. Think of it as the higher the ACT score, the higher the scholarship value. So if you have any students who are thinking about Troy, need help with scholarships, I will leave my information down in the chat and I will best be able to connect you with your student's admissions counselor. For our juniors, the application, we will start reviewing those on June 1st as well for our current juniors and rising seniors.
Thank you so much, Mackenzie. Next up, we have Dr. Griffin from Tuskegee.
Hello, everyone.
There
So I was trying to do 800 things. So thank you for allowing Tuskegee to be a part of your presentation today. Just pretty much the same thing everyone else is discussing. We're in the heart of completing our enrollment for our fall class. We are still giving out some of our merit-based scholarships, but they are mostly for the lower tier ones. Our presidential scholarship deadline was December 1st and our merit was January the 15th. Our preferred applicant 3.0, 21 ACT, 1,100 on the SAT. Tuskegee is a heavy STEM school, so we do require the science portion for our SAT. We've had record-breaking enrollment for the past 3 years. At almost 3,400. We're a small STEM school here in Alabama. Everyone seems to be from Mobile, as I am from Mobile. I went to Murphy High School, but we are essentially located about 15 minutes west of Auburn, Alabama. We've also continued to see a growth in our international recruitment, which is a little different from what most of our counterparts are seeing. Some of our hot programs are the aviation program. So students interested in coming to Tuskegee and learning how to become pilots are actually training in the same grounds and the same space that the historic Tuskegee Airmen did. So we just licensed our first female Tuskegee Airman, as we like to call her. You may have seen that on the news with Robin Roberts. Nursing, we are sitting at 100% on our last NCLEX exam for those students who actually sat already and have taken that. So 100% of them have passed. We do participate in Alabama Direct Admit. I'm not sure if we will next year. It had a lot of hiccups for us. But we do participate in the Common App Direct Admit as well. We have several events on campus. We just had Scholars Day last week, which was phenomenal, where we invite our scholars, students who have been offered merit-based scholarships come to campus for the day. And then we have Spring Open House March 21st. But one of the other things, I don't know, Deanna, if you mind me sharing my screen, we just got a grant for a summer program for interested rising seniors.
Let me see. I know we've had some technical challenges this morning, but
Okay, it's okay if not.
Let's see. I don't see a quick shift, unfortunately, but please share with us about that.
I will try to drop it in the chat, but we just received a grant from the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, and this is a program for rising seniors. So this will be for your high school juniors, where they will actually come to campus for Tuskegee for a week. It's a free camp. We will be doing industry tours. We will be going to the nuclear plant for Alabama Power, the Kia plant. We'll spend a day with the legislature, even though they won't be in session, but we will go to that space as well as Amazon. We'll be talking about why students should choose colleges, the college process, how to communicate effectively, just kind of going through that. And then we'll be doing the Clifton Gallup assessment for students to get their strengths and weaknesses as they're continuing to search through graduate post-high school levels. But I'll drop the flyer in the chat if you have any desires for any students that you may know. We only get 100 spots. We spent a week in training, just got back last night, and we're actually second. This is the first year we've been offered the grant. We were with a host of other schools, and we're second already in our applicant count. So just maybe something that if you have any rising seniors interested in attending school, I will drop that in the chat.
Thank you so much, Dr. Griffin. And thank you for mentioning too. I know we still have 4 colleges that are going to give their overviews, but about specifically that y'all are requiring the science part of the ACT. So we'll come back at the very end too, or if any of our remaining 4 want to speak to, if you already know what your policies are going to be, especially moving forward for the class of 2027, about what you're going to require for the ACT, since that has also made a shift, if y'all don't mind sharing that with us. And again, if we have any of our other college partners still on with us and y'all want to come back at the end and share that, we'd be happy to hear about it as counselors. So, okay, so I think we are to UAB next and Andrew Colson. Andrew, are you with us here, or is there another representative from UAB on? If not, we can come back. We'll go ahead and move then to West Alabama. And if we have one of our UAB admissions counselors come back, then we'll come back here.
Hello, everybody. Oh, camera, little
Thank you,
close.
Claire.
Hey, everyone. My name is Claire, and I am a recruitment and enrollment specialist here at the University of West Alabama. Our university is still accepting applications, and we will really do so until the first day of class. With us here at the university, we are very excited to welcome more and more students, so we will help you out through that last-minute process as long as we need to. We are test blind, so we don't require the ACT, but students that choose to not upload a test score typically will have to take a placement test at our university once they do get here. We do use an academic-only approach to review our applications. And for admissions, we like for our students to have either a 2.5 GPA or a 17 on their ACT. So either or can help them get admitted into our university. We do have over 90 majors, minors, and concentrations here at the University of West Alabama. Most of those degrees are going to be your typical 4-year bachelor degree. However, we do have a few associate degrees because we know some students don't enjoy going to college for a super long time. So a few of those are just nursing, industrial maintenance degrees. We do have an associate's and a bachelor's degree for our nursing program here, and it is without a doubt our biggest major on campus. I do want to share that our first time pass rate on the NCLEX is a 94%. So we are very proud of our nursing professors and our students and how they have learned over the course of a few times. We do have a new major that is coming to our university that we are excited to share. It is going to be titled University Studies. It is very similar to an exploratory major. So students can come in and take 2 years of basics and their major be University Studies. And any of their electives they can take in any classes they think may interest them. And then after they complete their sophomore year, they will then be required to choose a major. So it gives them a little bit of time to kind of test out the waters in some different areas and see what they really truly like before they ultimately declare a major. Another new major that we have on our campus is respiratory therapy. Our director, Dr. King, has many years of experience in this field, and he is super excited to be able to share his knowledge with incoming students. And then we do have a few growing majors here at our university. So a couple I like to mention is integrated marketing communications. That's for typically our creative people, and it has tracks that are traditional, or you can choose to go graphic design route, sports communication route, or even interior design with that. We also have an engineering technology degree that is definitely growing. Same thing with it. There are multiple tracks. You can go traditionally, you can go computer science, mechanical engineering, or electrical engineering with that. And another cool thing I like to mention is we do have an athletic training program here that has recently turned into a master's degree. However, if you do start your undergrad time here at our university, you are not required to fill out an application to be admitted into our master's program. You will automatically start taking classes to achieve that. However, if you do transfer into our university to begin that master's, you will have to go through an application process. So that's just a little incentive to some of our students for being here on campus and getting them into that master's program. A few things I want to mention as well is we also have a preview day coming up March 14th on our campus. Students will get to come, spend time with us, go on a tour, and also get to watch a free baseball game that day. So we're super excited to host them on our campus. Aside from that, we do Monday through Friday campus tours, and we also have one Saturday tour a month. That will be this Saturday for this month, and you can find all of those dates on our websites. We also love doing group tours with any of your students. If you feel like bringing them all, we love having all of them. And another cool couple things I want to share is that we got a $23.4 million grant from the state to renovate our student union building. So that renovation is currently happening on our campus. We are really excited to see that grow and students be able to utilize this new space on campus, as well as Katie Britt just helped our nursing department secure a $1.8 million grant for our nursing program. As she shared, it was important for rural healthcare workforce to be grown because a lot of nurses are needed in rural areas. On the basis of our scholarships, our alumni-funded scholarships will close February 28th, and our academic scholarships and all other scholarships that are given through our university will close on April 15th. For scholarship purposes, we do require students to have a 3.0 GPA or above. And then other than that, I just want to say thank you guys so much for having us today and listening to us. And I will also drop our information in the chat below.
Perfect. Thank you, Claire. Next up is University of Alabama, and I believe Jared is with us.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jared Twitty, and I serve as the Associate Director for Out-of-State Recruitment in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions here at the University of Alabama. It's my pleasure today to share with you a little bit about UA and what your students can expect from their college experience here at the Capstone. The University of Alabama, located in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, is a large and comprehensive institution with a very personal academic field. With a total enrollment of 42,360 students, we offer more than 100 majors and academic programs across 12 colleges and schools. And students also benefit from a 19-to-1 student to faculty ratio, which means that they get access to professors, advising, and mentorship from the first day on campus. Students can also look forward to a vibrant campus life and can find their community or sense of community on campus with over 600 student groups and organizations to choose from. The Styslinger College of Engineering, the Culverhouse College of Business, and the Bearfield College of Arts and Sciences are home to some of our most popular majors. As you can see, those majors consist of computer science, electrical, aerospace and mechanical engineering, accounting, finance, and marketing, as well as psychology, political science, and economics, where students can conduct research and enjoy experiential learning. The University of Alabama continues to be recognized for academic excellence. The Culverhouse College of Business and the Capstone College of Nursing are both nationally ranked, and UA has been recognized as one of Time Magazine's best colleges for future leaders. While we are still test optional moving forward in the fall of 2027, a standardized test score will be required for students whose cumulative high school GPA is below a 3.0. And furthermore, beyond that, beginning in the fall of 2028, a standardized test score will be required for all applicants. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to contact me or our office. I'll make sure that our contact information is in the chat, and we'd love to have you on our campus for a visit. Roll Tide.
Thank you, Jared, and thank you for the updates about y'all's admissions criteria that are shifting. So last but not least, we have Dana, I believe, from Auburn.
It won't let me turn on my video.
Oh, no worries. We can hear you. Go.
Okay, perfect. My name's Dana Poor. I'm a freshman admissions advisor here at Auburn. Some quick updates for Auburn. So we are located in Auburn, Alabama. We are a public land-grant institution. We have a total enrollment of over 34,000 students. Our undergrad population makes up about 28,000 of these students. Even though we're a larger institution, We have an overall faculty to student ratio of 21-1, with over 80% of our classes being 40 students or less. At Auburn, we offer over 150 different majors across disciplines such as engineering, business, agriculture, forestry, architecture, hospitality. We offer a lot for students if they are really wanting to go for that 4-year degree. Big admissions updates for us. So as for the ACT, we don't require the science portion of the ACT, but if students want to take the science portion and use it as part of their super score, they can. Typically, if a student is wanting to use that science super score or science score in their super score at this point, they will want to send us each individual test score instead of just the ACT super score, so that we can make calculations including the science score or without that science score. Big updates for us. Our fall of 26 application is closed. We closed back on February 1. That was our final deadline. We have one more round of decisions that are going to be released sometime soon here in early March. Other big update is for fall of 2027, we are requiring all students to apply with official test scores, either ACT or SAT, but we are doing away with our test optional application completely. Fall of 27 will require every student to apply with those test scores. If you do have a student that wants to apply for that spring 27, just because that is typically a student that would have been a traditional fall 26 student, they will still have the option for a test optional pathway, but that will be the last opportunity for test optional at Auburn. We do our admissions in rounds, so we do an early action review in the fall. This is going to be an academic-based review. This allows students to be scholarship eligible if admitted. If students are deferred or they wait to apply during our one spring deadline, our regular decision round, it's going to be a comprehensive review where they'll be able to submit resume, optional supporting statement, academic letters of support, a bunch of additional information. With that in mind, I do recommend for any student moving forward, even if they're applying during early action, if they have those additional materials ready and available to be submitted, it's better for them to go ahead and submit those. Even if they end up being admitted, it's good to have it on hand in case that student is deferred so that their application can be reviewed right off the bat with those additional materials for our professional readers to review when a student is going through that secondary comprehensive review. I will drop my contact information in the chat as well as our general information for any questions you have about Auburn.
Thank you so much, Dana. So we just want to say a quick thank you again to all of our attendees, of course, who have been with us since our technical difficulties earlier this morning, but we appreciate y'all's patience as we got started and heard from some wonderful speakers who gave us overviews about selective admission, as well as the differences in a public and a private institution when it comes to some of that selective admission and some of the great programs that they have. And then, of course, hearing from Chandra about the direct admit programs that are taking place now that all of us can utilize as counselors. And then hearing from Ronnie as our keynote just about a student experience and things that we just need to be reminded of as far as when we are working with our students and identifying those that might need a little extra help along the way. And then, of course, to our college partners who have all taken the time to share those updates with us, we're very appreciative of you all as well. And for SACAC and our state and areas initiatives chairs, who I don't know if we still have anybody on that wanted to do any final wrap-up announcements, you're welcome to chime in at this time if there's anything that Samantha or I missed, or Samantha, if you have anything as well. But again, thank you all so much for your time. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Kristen. I just very quickly, I'm Kristen Bird. I am on the board and serve on the SAI committee, and just want to take a few minutes on behalf of the board to thank you all for taking the time to join today, but then also want to thank Kristen and Samantha for all of the work that you did to put this event together. You all are amazing, and we appreciate everything that you did to make this event happen. So I don't have anything beyond that. Just wanted to say thank you to both of you for taking on this role and for putting this together.
Thank you for allowing us to do this. And thank you again so much, everyone, for attending. We will get this information back out to you. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me or Kristen.